I'm Allie with Potomac Beads. Join me in making Anna's quarter chain necklace. Remember, you can make this as a necklace, a bracelet, or wrap bracelet, and have fun and make it your own. Gather the materials if you need the list there at the beginning, as well as below the video near the like button. Check that out and get ready to make the quarter chain necklace. To get started with my quarter chain, I have a stop bead on, and you want to leave yourself about 10 inches at the start of the thread in order to put your clasp on after the fact. I have on one of my quarter Tilas, and if you're not familiar with them, they are about a quarter of the width of a regular Tila bead. So the Miyuki bead, so it's manufactured in Japan. After that, I have on 3 15 OC beads. The 3 15 O's here are in that light blush color, and then they're going to decorate from the first hole to the second hole of this half Tila. So I'm going from one hole to the other hole, which is going to have your thread exiting right along the side of the stop bead. So you can see that there. I'm using 0.006 wildfire beading thread in the gray color since my half Tilas are that nickel plate color. The 15 O's that I'm using are the matte opaque blush, and those are a Miyuki 15 O. From there, I'm going to add a 15 and then one of my crystals, and the crystals that I have are that light rose AB. In hers, Anna did the smoky topaz color, and then I'm going to follow with another 15. The reason I picked these 15 is to make that color a little bit brighter. After that, we're going to go ahead and put on another one of our quarter Tilas, and I'll let that all drop down next to my beads that are already there. Those are going to act as basically a connector, kind of connecting that quarter Tila. So you can see we're going to go in here, and we have this quarter Tila in. And if you look here along the sides, we have this one in and we have this one in. We're going to go ahead and connect that guy. To do so, we're going to add a 15, then our quarter Tila, and then we're going to take our thread and needle from this quarter Tila that we just added and go through the second hole, switching the thread direction. So that's going to expose a little bit of thread on that exterior row. Don't worry about that. It's not a big deal, because when we go in and actually add in some of the extra seed beads, you really won't see them. So after bringing our thread out from that quarter Tila, we're going to go back to the first quarter Tila, and I'm going to go to the side of the quarter Tila basically that has that like one little seed bead there, and we are going to add a seed bead. So we're adding an 11O seed bead. And then we are going to sew through that same first, we added our 15 OC bead, and we're sewing through that first hole there of that quarter Tila bead. So we're going backwards basically. What we're going to be doing is right angle weave. That's going to link those two in together. So we went through, we added our 15, crystal 15, our next quarter Tila, 15, quarter Tila, and we just jumped from the top hole to the bottom hole, kind of turning it on its side and going back through the quarter Tila. We're going to go then in a right angle weave fashion back through those seed beads and the crystals along the side. And once you get this and you have it established, it's really repetitive. That first stitch might be a little bit kind of confusing as far as which beads go where. I'm going to go back through then the quarter Tila, the 15, and that third quarter Tila that we put in place and come off to the side. And you can see that's going to get us our first portion of our chain. Coming out here along the side then, here's where I'm going to add my crystal again. So we're going to add a 15 crystal, 15, just one, and then we're going to add our next quarter Tila. After our next quarter Tila, we're going to add a 15, and we're going to sew back into the quarter Tila that's already there. So you have your 15, crystal 15, quarter Tila 15, and then back through the quarter that's already there. And you can see that gets the next one in place. So to tighten it up, you're going to go back through that quarter Tila, 15, quarter Tila, through the 15. So we're circling around just like right angle weave and circling around through everything we just added on. Once you're through and out, you're going to go through the quarter Tila and through the 15 and out the quarter Tila on the other side. So now when we exit, again, just to keep track, you're going to do 15, crystal, 15, then you're going to add a quarter Tila, and then another 15. Take it through the open hole of the quarter Tila that's already there, and that puts the next one in place along the chain. Taking your thread and needle, you're going to go back through the quarter Tila that your thread is coming out of through the second hole towards the start of the project, and then back through all of the beads that you just put on. So I'm going back through that 15. I'm going to turn it in my hand and flip it just so it's a little bit easier to work with. Go up through the crystal and up through the 15. As you come out the crystal in the 15 then, you're going to go out through that quarter Tila, 15, quarter Tila, and out. Again, one more time here. We're going to add 15, then a crystal. And the crystals I'm using are the 1.5 by 2 millimeter Rondelles. 15, quarter Tila, 15, back through the quarter Tila that's already there. So it's always that same pattern of 15, crystal, 15, quarter Tila, 15, back through the open hole of the quarter Tila. Pull nice and tight so you don't see any extra thread, and that exposes the crystal right along the edge there. From here, take your thread and needle back through that quarter Tila, crystal, or I'm sorry, quarter Tila 15, quarter Tila 15. And then I'm going to flip it in my hand just so it's easier to hold. I do that a lot with the right angle weave. Go up through the crystal and the 15. And then as we come through and come on out, we're going to go the whole way through the quarter Tila, 15 quarter Tila, and then get ready to add our grouping of our beads again. So just to show you, if you do want to do the chain a little bit faster, it's not going to sit as nice, so realize that, because you're not basically doing that right angle section. What you can actually do is go in and right after coming out of that quarter Tila, you can add your 15 crystal, 15, quarter Tila, 15, just like we've been doing, that 3 rotation, and then go through that quarter Tila that sits on the other side, and then you're already set up to add your next bead. Again, it kind of sits not as nice, but it is a lot less thread. It's definitely going to be sturdier if you do Anna's version where you're going back through, but if you don't want to and you want to do it for speed's sake, and it's for you and you're not really going to put a lot of weight on it, you might just wear it as is, you can go ahead and just do it simply with that crystal 15, crystal 15, 15 crystal, 15 quarter Tila, 15, and then back through that quarter Tila that's already there. You can see that thread kind of loosening up. If you are doing this right and you're not locking it in with that right angle weave, you just want to make sure that you're giving nice tight pulls. You can already see it kind of doesn't sit as nicely lined up. So I'm going to continue going through and going back through the previous row and spinning around all of those beads to get back into my position to add on the next beads of my chain. So I just wanted to go over that in case you are asking, why am I spinning around? There's always a reason for you to be doing that right angle weave, because those seed beads are going to sit a lot nicer, as well as it's going to be a lot more durable, especially if you want to hang something from the actual chain. So I'm going to keep going and keep building along the chain, and I'm going to do it that right angle weave where I go back through those beads that I just added one more time. Once you have your chain your desired length, you're coming out the top of the 15s, just like you would be getting ready to add on your next piece of your chain. What I'm going to do is come out through that quarter Tila and not go straight through to the 15 and the next quarter Tila like we would normally do. I'm just going through that quarter Tila. When I come out the quarter Tila, I'm going to add 3 15s to decorate that one side, go through that quarter Tila bead, go ahead and add on one more 15, go up through a wire guard. So I have a 15 on and then my wire guard. I'm going to go back down through the wire guard on the other side. And if you have a clasp that you need to put on right now, say a toggle or something, you would do that as well. I'm just going to link on with some jump rings, a lobster clasp. And coming back down then out the other side here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into that same quarter Tila, kind of circling around. So you're coming out through the quarter Tila, you added the 15, going back through the wire guard, add a 15, and now I'm going to go back through that same quarter Tila bead. Once I do that, it brings that wire guard right there to the top. Along the side here, I'm going to decorate with 3 more 15s and go through that same quarter Tila bead. Last thing to do, and I've got an extra cliffhanger there, kind of break that guy off. The last thing to do is we're going to reinforce that. So I want to go back up through those 3 beads that sit along the side of that quarter Tila bead. And this time, to kind of pull it a little bit more in line, I'm going to go, instead of through that quarter Tila, I'm going right to and jumping to the 15, up through the wire guard. Again, I'll use a jump ring or a split ring, attach my clasp, down through the wire guard, as well as through the 15 that sits right after it. Once you're through that 15, you want to just make sure that that thread sits right in that wire guard. You don't want your thread kind of hanging off to the side. You're going to go through those 3 15s along the side here. And then while I'm here, I'm going to go straight down through that 15, crystal 15 right after. Now I have this whole thing here reinforced. And all I'm going to do is tie off my thread. So I've got that nice ending where it looks nice and complete. I'm going to tie off the thread by just going back through my right angle weave stitch a couple times here. So I'm basically re-stitching the last maybe 1/4 to 1/2 inch. And then what I'm going to do is just pick off a point and tie off the thread by going through some of those thread ends, or taking the thread through some of those connection points. Go underneath a bridge thread, and I'll show you how we're going to tie it off. So after going back a couple threads, and I would normally go back maybe 3 more stitches, but I'll show you. Here, I'm going to come out from a bead. So underneath the bridge thread, which is the thread connecting the beads from one to another, make a loop and then sew through that loop that you've just made. Taking the needle through that loop creates a knot. Pulling nice and tightly then, it's going to force that knot to go in between the beads. So 2 more places, do the same thing 2 more times. After you have that same thing done 2 more times, you're just going to take your thread burner or your thread zap, go ahead and burn off the thread end. And then you want to take that thread end nice and flush. You can see I came out right before one of my quarter Tilas. That way when that gray thread balls up, you won't actually see it at all. I'm going to burn down that extra thread there, which is going to create almost like a stop bead. The one thing you want to make sure when you burn down on that extra thread, do not burn the thread that is going through the beads. It'll make you so sad because then you'll have to do it again. So again, all I'm going to do on the other side, same thing, take off that stop bead, go in, add some of the beads as well as the wire guard along the other end, and then I have a bracelet to go along with Anna's necklace. So again, you can make a double wrap. She was wearing this as a necklace. I said, oh, that's really pretty. I'm going to do it as a bracelet for the video just to show that really simple kind of back and forth snaking. Again, you can snake back and forth, or you can join in doing that full right angle weave, which is going to make it a little bit stiffer and a little bit nicer as you go. But again, this whole idea is taking kind of the beads and using them in an unusual fashion in a regular stitch like right angle weave, and you get something totally, totally different. And it so happened that the 1.5 by 2 millimeter rondelles sit perfectly. So again, I use that nickel plate color, and I use the 24 karat gold plated, as well as that smoky topaz, and then I have that light rose, along with the matte opaque blush color, and then Anna has the brown iris color as well in her 15. So again, make it a bracelet, make it a necklace, make it into your own, and have fun working with that right angle weave, creating this quarter chain. Thanks so much for joining me in making this quarter chain necklace. Remember, you can make it your own into a necklace, bracelet, wrap bracelet, and really have fun with the design. If you need any of the materials, they're at the beginning of the video as well as listed below the video. You can hit the show more button right near that subscribe as well as like button. Remember, if you do hit the subscribe button, you'll get regular updates from us here at PotomacBeads.com. Keep in mind, you can also stay connected with us and join our Facebook group for beading and jewelry making. Thanks so much to Anna for the design, and hopefully you learned a little bit of right angle weave while working with those quarter Tilas.